Alright, hello dear friends. Today I wanted to share this with you. I will not be adding my opinion to this whatsoever. I will not be using or citing any of the countless examples of each one of these points. Okay, this is the 14 points of fascism. Okay, and what I ask you to do is put your own political beliefs aside and look at this from outside of the political arena. Okay, me personally, I am not like the rest of these wackos out here. I consider myself to be more conservative, but I am not a conservative. I'm not affiliated politically with anything. None of them, because none of them are right. None of them. And I'd imagine that's how it's supposed to be. But these are the 14 points of fascism. I'm just going to give them to you. Look at them. Put your political beliefs aside and look at them. Okay? Because if you're conservative and you believe the whole QAnon thing, a lot of this stuff you're not going to catch. Ready? Alright. Number 1. Powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere, as are flag symbols on clothing and in public displays. Number 2. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. And as I said, there's countless examples of where this is all happening right now. Because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of... That's strange. Something. The people tend to look the other way or even approve of torture, summary executions, assassinations, long incarcerations of prisoners, etc. Again, because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases. As I said, a plethora of examples to choose from. 3. Identification of enemies. Scapegoats as a unifying cause. Examples. The people are rallied into a unifying patriotic frenzy over the need to eliminate a perceived common threat or foe. Racial, ethnic, or religious minorities. Liberals. Communists. Socialists, terrorists, etc. You guys ain't dumb. You know, I'm sure you know every example I could list off here. You already know. Number 4. Supremacy of the military. Even when there were widespread domestic problems, as there are, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding, and the domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers and military service are glamorized. 5. Rampant sexism. The government of fascist nations tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated. Under fascist regimes, traditional gender roles are made more rigid. Opposition to abortion is high, as it should be, as is homophobia and anti-gay legislation and national policy. Number 6. Controlled mass media. This is hilarious. Sometimes the media are directly controlled by the government, but in other cases, the media are indirectly controlled by government regulation or sympathetic media spokespeople and executives, censorship, especially in wartime, is very common. I'm sure you're picking up everything I'm laying down. Obsession number 7. Obsession with national security. Fear is used as a motivational tool by the government over the masses. Obvious. Number 8. Religion and government are intertwined. They always are. Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders, even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. It's crazy, isn't it? Number 9. Corporate power is protected, as in no liability for damages done by the leg wobble shot, the clot shot. Corporate power is protected. The industrial and business aristocracy of a fascist nation often are the ones who put the government leaders into power, creating a mutually beneficial business-government relationship and power elite. Clearly visible. Number 11. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher education and academia. It is not uncommon for professors and other academics to be censored or even arrested. Free expression in the arts is openly attacked, and governments often refuse to fund the arts. Our government likes to fund gender studies, which is pretty funny. Number 12. Obsession with crime and punishment. Under fascist regimes, the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. That's true in America here, and Canada, and Europe, and Russia. Okay, so that's true universally these days. The people are often willing to overlook police abuses and even forego civil liberties in the name of patriotism. There is often a national police force with virtually unlimited power in fascist nations. We're on 13. 13 and 14 are, again, clearly applicable. It's obvious. 13. Rampant cronyism and corruption. This is the biggest problem in this entire country, is corruption. Not only are the leaders corrupt and cronies, but the people are corrupt as well. And corrupt people elect or vote for corrupt leaders. It's just how it works. Because if you're corrupt and you do illegal things, you're going to choose the guy who is also corrupt and does illegal things so that you ain't in trouble. Because if you elect someone who is a stand-up guy and he's got integrity, you're going to be held accountable. So, 13. Rampant cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes, I've messed that word up like 8 times, I'm sorry. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint each other to government positions and use governmental power and authority to protect their friends from accountability. It is not uncommon in fascist regimes for national resources and even treasurers to be, national resources and even treasures to be appropriated or even outright stolen by government leaders. As in, we'll give all the money to our corporate buddies and you'll get your $600 cut. The last one, 14. fraudulent elections. Sometimes, usually, almost all the time, elections in fascist nations are a complete sham. Other times, elections are manipulated by smear campaigns against, or even assassination of opposition candidates, use of legislation to control voting numbers or political district boundaries, gerrymandering, and manipulation of the media. Fascist nations also typically use their judiciaries to manipulate and control elections. These 14 points are common things that were in common between Hitler, Mussolini, Franco, Suharto, Pinochet, a bunch of them. These are characteristics of these fascist leaders and habits that all of them had. Literally every one of them is happening right now. The one that I wanted to take a minute. I really don't want to give my opinion here because it's not needed. I gave you the 14 points. I'm sure you're smart enough to know what's going on here. But I did want to talk about 13. Rampant cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups of friends and associates who appoint each other to government positions. And they use government power to protect their friends from accountability. Now, the reason I want to talk about this is I'm not going to bother explaining how that's exactly what's happening. How Bush and Clinton are two last names that instantly get you into the White House. We've had two Bushes. We had Bill. Hillary was running. But what I want to talk about is, let's say 2024 comes along, right? And we'll say that for some reason, which I know this isn't going to happen, but we're going to say Donald Trump doesn't run for election, right? He's going to, because it's popularity and all that crap. But he's going to. But let's say he didn't. Okay? And let's say Joe Biden runs for re-election. Who is there? Who is there that can fill that spot, right? Who is going to lead these people that want their fleshly leader? There's like four families, I should say, that are actually in a position to become president. In 2028, right? We'll say Joe and Trump, right? One of them, either Biden wins re-election, and then he isn't eligible to run anymore. God forbid. Do you know, let me finish this thought here. Or Trump wins re-election, and he isn't able to run anymore. Okay? So, one of them drops out. Who are they running against? There's no one. There's no one that is going to be president unless it's allowed. And only certain people are actually allowed. It's insane. I tell people that all the time. You're so worried about Trump 2024. What the fuck are we doing after 2024, you know? Alright, so this last thought, and then I'm out of here. Joe Biden, okay? When we look at presidents, like Obama, right? It's a fun exercise here. He bombed a lot of brown countries. He was... Bomb sums up his presidency. Bomb. And then we have Trump, who was the Trump card, you could say. I actually broke this down. Donald Trump means the grandfather of tricks. Don is grandfather. All Trump. Right. Biden. Bide is a word. B-I-D-E. And it means to continue on as you are now, essentially. If you want to look up the etymology of bide, B-I-D-E. So, shit ain't getting better, guys. It's not going to get any better. Especially when everybody in the world thinks it's going to get worse and worse and worse. That's what they're going to manifest, is worse and worse and worse. For me personally, every day's better than the last. It's a rainy day right now, but it's still beautiful. It's wonderful. I got to do a lot of stuff today. I got a lot of stuff lined up. My time gets better and better. But bide means to carry on at the rate we're already going. And the entire time that Biden is in office, that's exactly what's going to happen. This man, he printed, 60% of all the money that's actually in circulation has been printed since last year. At the same time, all these giant corporations are sucking up money. All the tax dollars, they're sucking it right up. But you get your cut. You'll get your $600. He's draining all the resources. Everything that the past generations worked to build, Joe Biden has given to his friends and given you a cut for not doing anything about it. That's essentially what it is. But I'm going to wrap this up. We got our 14 points. I'll link this into this video description here. There's a lot of good information here. I figure you might want to check it out. It was interesting enough that I wanted to share it with you. So, peace out, guys. Love you all.